Okay, Rob, today I wanted to talk about how-tos and specifically how to work with an existing wealth management partner. And I wanted to cover four things that you need to ask before entering into a partnership with them. And that's one, what type of firm are they? Two, we'll cover their expertise and specialty. Three, I want you to go over the importance of understanding their process. And then four, understanding what type of client base they serve. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds great, Rory.
All righty. So why is it important, Rob, to know what type of wealth management firm you're working with?
Yeah, so this section is where a lot of the accounting firms that we've spoken with, that we know, have existing relationships with wealth managers that they're already referring clients to. And so, if you are one of those firms and that was something that kind of lit a light bulb for you when we were
resonated with you,
that conversation, that's what we're here to talk about. So how do you approach that advisor to see if this is a good fit for them to be a fee sharing partner of your new advisory model for your firm? So, the first thing that we asked, we think you should ask is, what type of firm is it? So this is really important as far as, so is the wealth advisor that you're currently working with, are they part of a large investment bank like a JP Morgan or a Morgan Stanley or a UBS? Are they part of one of the wire houses, which would be traditionally like a TD Ameritrade or Schwab? Are they an independent advisor, or like Arrowroot Family Office, which is a registered investment advisor? Are they a single advisor that maybe uses an outside platform, broker-dealer investment advisory platform like an LPL? And asking some of those questions initially or getting a good sense is a good first step. And the reason why we think that's a good first step is because some of these institutions have programs in place to fee share and revenue share with referring accountants. Some do not. So, for the example of JP Morgan, JP Morgan Private Bank typically hasn't entered into these kind of relationships, in particular with small, medium-sized accounting firms. They might have something in much larger. So if this wealth manager that you refer clients to belongs to one of those institutions, you should just be prepared that their institution may not allow them to share fees with you. So that's, that was the first one. What's our second point?
Yeah, our second one is number two. What do you need to know about their expertise or specialty, Rob?
Got it. So, knowing their specialty and their expertise is also really important, right? So, like we were just mentioning in the previous point, larger institutions may not have programs like this. Smaller institutions may have programs already like this in place. Others would be interested in maybe starting one. But so for the specialty, some of these advisors really specialize in one or two key areas. An example that we see a lot are advisors out there that just focus on corporate retirement plans, which could be a wonderful partnership for accounting firms, especially those that deal with business owners or companies, because that may be a wonderful relationship. Others may just focus on certain net worth of particular clients or liquid net worth. So, for the example of a UBS or a Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan, would be, we only take clients with $2 million of investable net worth or $5 million or $10 million. So, you want to try to have that part of your conversation with these new advisors. And one thing we want to really stress is that, as you start to incorporate this advisory model and start to incorporate different folks that are going to be helping you with this process, you can potentially be working with multiple advisors down the road to be able to service your client base in a particular way. Meaning, You might have one wealth advisor that's a real expert in corporate retirement plans, and that might be the advisor that you refer that business to. Another that really focuses on financial planning or retirement planning for high net worth individuals, and maybe one that's really focused on next gen. It doesn't necessarily have to be a single source that you're able to refer to. But again, for today, we are really wanting to focus on if you've got that existing relationship with the wealth manager, it's very, very important for you to try to get a better sense of what is their real expertise and speciality.
Yeah, and I think we'll touch on in another how-to episode on how to set up those strategic partnerships, what a contract looks like. And so we'll get that out in another episode, Rob. I wanted to touch on that because I know accounting firms are going to want to know, how do I set up these partnerships? All right, well, the next question, let's move on to number 3. As an accounting firm working with a wealth manager, what do you need to know about their process?
Right. So, for a lot of accountants with existing wealth managers that they work with, it's a simple referral. Um, Not a lot of times are those accounting firms involved in the financial planning process or wealth management process. It's, hey, I know Jim. He's a really good guy, trustworthy. You should talk to Jim about investments, right? And so, we're not saying that you shouldn't use Jim. What we're saying is once you've approached some of these folks that have been part of your trusted, circle of colleagues that you work with clients or that you refer clients to, is as you tell them that you're adopting this new advisory model, is, to this third point, sit down with them and ask them in a detailed manner what their process is. So, again, we've asked them what kind of key services or products or clients that they really focus on. So once they get that client, what does their process look like? And, the reason why you want to ask that is because, there may be parts of that you already do, which is going to be a much more value add for your wealth management partner if you've collected a lot of this information on your tax advisory side. There's a way to collaborate. Also, there may be other opportunities in that process for you to be able to be more value add, be incorporated or not, right? Some wealth management firms that do financial planning, this could be a wonderful way to actually partner with a wealth manager to do a lot of this financial planning upfront work. And you can then access a lot of that data that firm has worked very hard to collect, and you don't have to put a person on it, right? So that's a perfect example of you maybe have a partnership with a financial planner, does amazing work. Your clients love him or her. Well, coming to that trusted resource and saying, we're incorporating this advisory model. This will be a way for us to actually rev share in some of these responsibilities. And, let's talk about what your process is. And that may include a lot of the data collection that we talk about in the 2-step process already, which would alleviate a lot of work on your side, and vice versa. Maybe you're doing a ton of work on the tax advisory side, and a carrot for that financial planner to start looking at the business proposition of fee sharing in this is that some of that data collection is in a big hurdle or a headache for them. Maybe you've already done that through your tax advisory work. So getting to know the process is really important to see how you and your firm and your employees can and want to fit into that process and make it more efficient.
Yeah, I totally agree, Rob. And I think you touched on a couple points here, and I wanted to add on to that. It sounds like there's a ways to monetize that relationship by having this conversation. And then 2, you can also start this collaboration and get the reporting back that you may need to file tax returns. So those 2 aspects I think are important in entering in these type of collaborations and communicating with that wealth manager. And then 3rd, I believe that this can help from a tax planning perspective as well.
Absolutely. And we think that these conversations, these 4 points, with people, that they're already close with, is again a wonderful potential first step for people to start to go towards this advisory model. Again, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. None of them are perfect, but one with people that you trust and have a relationship with can certainly be an easier path.
I agree. And let's just dive into the last one here, Rob. What do you need to know in regards to the type of client base that the wealth manager serves?
So, it's a really important question, one that accounting firms should probably be asking themselves, which is, what type of client are we really well prepared to service? And what kind of client do we really want, right? Those are two really important questions. But when you're working with a wealth manager, one that we work with for a very long time, or one that you're about to work with, is, what is really their bread and butter of their type of client that they work with? If the advisor comes back and says, anybody, that could be true. But, in our experience, folks tend to have a particular type of client that they do really, really well with. So, and there are also types of clients that they may not want. So, we've been through a few experiences where there's partnerships between an accounting firm and a wealth management firm, and the accounting firm is sending over, IRA accounts of $2,000 or $5,000. Those are smaller accounts. You're not making a tremendous amount of capital and fees for some of that. Some advisors won't want that type of business, and you certainly don't want to force that business on them if they don't want it. On the flip side, you see a lot of advisors out there that love to get, start a relationship. It's a way to start a relationship with someone that might become a high earner at another point, and that asset base is going to grow over 10, 20 years or 30 years. And so it's really important to ask the advisor, point blank, what type of clients do you service, and what type of clients do you not service? Again, starting with one sounds like a pretty good idea, but once you start to build out some of the team and start to see what some of those other resources are out there, you can start to figure out different paths to monetize the needs of your clients in a high service way and in a high quality way, by sending them to people that are enthusiastic about that type of client and well suited to be able to give the best service.
Yeah, I agree, Rob. So I think in wrapping things up, it's important to look at the type of the firm. Is it a large JP Morgan? Is it a wirehouse? And then understanding the expertise or specialty, making sure you understand their process, and then making sure there's a fit as far as the client base is concerned.
Absolutely. And of course, we're always available for those that have further questions. So, we're going to start having social media and all kinds of different ways to communicate with us. But in the meantime, send us an email, send us a text, give us a call.
And we will help you vet if you want to vet a wealth manager. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate this quick how-to.
Thank you, Rory.
Until next time.
All right. Bye-bye.